Hey guys, hanging out in a hotel in Ottawa, trying to get us Mounties a big pay raise. I thought I'd do a quick video message. I've been waiting since July for someone to reach out to start some conversations with me about what happened, and it hasn't happened, so I thought I would take the initiative and bring it out in the open and talk it out and figure it out and see where things go from here. So I'll start with Kelowna, but I would like to talk about a few things. Number one, our history, how it started, where it started, what the ground rules of what we started with, and talk about a few things like that. And I recognize that there are some heated subjects to talk about. I'm okay talking about it. I hope you guys are too. I also recognize that there's more than one perspective. We're human. There's lots of different perspectives. And please feel free to share yours with me. So when we sat down at that table in Kelowna, it was done by design because I sat down and I didn't know where I'd be sitting, but I told Naomi, wherever I'm sitting, I want you to look at the person across from me and watch their face reactions when I ask a question. Because I didn't, in my gut, I knew that we had spent money, but I wanted to be wrong because I'm shocked that you guys would have conversations about paying bills and hiding this money from me. And so I wanted to be wrong, but I knew I wasn't. And so I said, I just want you to watch the face reactions. And so when Naomi joined us, we're talking, and then eventually I said, okay, well, let's talk about Barb. John, have we paid any money to Barb? And your reaction instantly told it all. You kind of sort of backpedaled a little bit and then said, I don't know, ask Keith. That told me all I needed to hear. Naomi's conversation afterwards with her and I was that right in Keith's look, he sort of had his eyes opened up, and then he's staring at you, and then he looked over at me, and she said she knew right then there that, yeah, we'd spent money. And Keith said, yeah, we spent $1,000. And there was somewhat of an apology from you, Keith, and nothing really from you, John. Like, you sort of said, well, if you feel that way, I'm sorry. And that's why later on in the conversation I said that was your apology. And so that's why it got pretty heated. But we're okay. We're adults. We can figure out conflict. Like, that's the beauty of it, is that we should be able to talk. So that happened. And I was really hurt by that because when we started this business, everywhere along the lines, it's always been unanimous decisions. And trust. We have to have trust with each other. And I don't know how, I guarantee you, probably 5 times a year, you guys hear it from me. Friends first, guys. Doesn't matter how much money we make. We have to be friends at the end of this. I don't want Namushka Lodge to happen. I don't want to happen what happened to Brad's parents. So let's talk. I don't care how big of an issue, little of an issue, let's talk. Let's not let little things fester. Little things can grow into big things, and then you can't talk. And I've said that countless times. Thinking about it right now, I don't know if I've ever heard you guys say that. So maybe you don't feel that way, and maybe it's lip service that I'm saying it, because I know on every business meeting, whether we're in Mexico, we're in Vegas, we're on a houseboat, we're in Kamloops, we're in Ucluelet or Calgary, or in Castlegar, I've said that. Repetitively, I've said it. And I think we'll agree with that has been my mantra, is that let's figure this out. And decisions all the way along have been unanimous. If Keith, you didn't like a decision, or John, you didn't like a decision, or I didn't like a decision, we don't try and bully the person. We don't try to ignore them and not call them or text them anymore. We figure it out. And so that's why I've been waiting for about 3.5 months, thinking, oh, one of you guys will reach out and say, hey, that fucking went a little sideways. Hey, Swanee, are we good? And there's been nothing. It's been crickets. So that's why I'm taking this initiative, because this is too valuable of friendships and too valuable of relationships, and you're going to hear that word a lot, to let it fester. But I can tell you, it really cut deep. It really hurt when I find out that, it wasn't $1,000. It's closer to $1,600. And I don't even know if that's the end of it. Is it? Is there more bills? Because certainly we paid Craig a bunch of money too. And we also paid Craig when Barb went to go see him. He didn't do those hours for free either. So there's more costs. But it hurt because everything we've done has been based on that foundation of trust. Look at the property we just sold, Courtney Crescent. John, your name wasn't even on it, right? We just cut you a $50,000 check, equal. You earned it just as much as we did. But you didn't have the money to buy that property. I put in the down payment for you on that one because you couldn't get the money out of the relationships that you were in at the time. I don't know if it was Nancy. I think it was Nancy at the time, and didn't want your name on the record. So the divorce proceedings and everything else. But you couldn't even get the money. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll front you the money and we'll sort it out in the loan shares. So for a long time, I had a lot more money invested in the business, but it didn't matter to me. It was trust, and that has been broken. Because surely to goodness, you guys had some conversations about this bill, because you knew from November meeting and several emails and text messages and phone calls and conversations leading up to, including right up into March, and then you guys knew that I didn't want to spend money on Barb, on researching these things. I think I made it very clear on several messages that I didn't want to spend more money. And when a bill comes in like that, surely to goodness, you guys talked about it. Surely to goodness, the bill came because it was emailed to both of you. It wasn't to me. But you had that conversation. And if you didn't have that conversation, there's a solution there too. But I'm certain you had a conversation. Do we tell Swanee? Do we not? And right there is where the mistake was made. The proper thing to do would have been, oh fuck, we got this bill from Barb, $1,600. Maybe that's the first bill or second bill. I don't know anymore. But we have this bill. We got to deal with it. What do we do? First thing you should have done is said, hey, Jeff, we got this bill for $1,700, $1,600. So, fuck. Here's what we're going to propose. Or you don't tell me. But if you don't tell me, you don't spend my money. It would have been $530 each to pay off Barb's bill. That bill. I don't know about Craig's bill or other bills, but I'll leave that subject alone for now. Roughly, let's say that Barb's bill is about $530 each. What you could have done, if you were going to hide it from me and not say anything, is you could have said, okay, John, it's going to cost us $530 each, or let's you and I just pony up, the other $270, and so it's $800 total, and we'll just pay the bill off. So you could have done that. The hurtful part is that you chose not to. And I don't know if you know the definition of collusion, but that fits it to a T. When you're colluding with somebody else, another party, that's what collusion is. That's what breach of trust is. And Keith, you have a trust issue. You've had it for a long time. I am not friends with Craig Halifax for that reason. You burn Keith, you burn me. John, I am not, and I haven't been, friends with Laura or Nancy because they hurt you. They will never be my friends. They will never get back that trust. It's yours to give away. And it hurt that that's what happened. And some would say, fuck, it's just money, right? But it's that fact that I have to question it. What other expenses are getting? Are you guys submitting your cell phone bills? Are your cell phone bills getting paid? Or, when Keith or John, when you're driving out to go visit your sister and you're stopping at Keith for a night, are you submitting expenses along the way? Like I don't know. And the fact that I have to question that now is wrong. So I set a trap for Barb. Speaking about trust. We got back and I'm like, well, I know the answer. Let's just see if I can trust this lady. They want to move forward with her. Let's see if I can trust her. So I sent a message to her and I said, hey, Barb, been a little while since we talked on the phone. We're trying to figure out how we're going to move forward with our tax planning and our companies and structure. And she, and I just said, I need to know confidentiality. What's the rules there? And we went back and forth, and basically my answer to her, question to her was, if I say anything to you, does it get disclosed to Keith and John? Or are you and I working together? But then if we're on a conference call with the three of us, that's a different story. But right now I'm working with you one-on-one. And does that go anywhere? And she absolutely promised me that no matter what she and I talked about, it goes nowhere. Trap set. Okay, Barb. Can you send me the bill? We're sorting out our costs. Can you send me the bill for your services that we paid? Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm like, well, why can't you, Barb? I'm a third of the partnership. Oh, I can't do that. So either one of you talked to her and told her that she couldn't, or she had a little bit of ethical boundaries, and she, for whatever reason, thought that she shouldn't share it with the person that paid her bill. Whatever. But we had that level of confidentiality. She promised me that whatever we talked about wouldn't go anywhere. And I left it. And Naomi said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm just going to leave it. Because she's got a choice. Just like you guys had a choice. She's got a choice. She can choose to uphold that confidentiality and not bring it up and let it go away. Or she can choose to get in touch with Keith right away and tell him about our conversation. It's exactly what she did. So it was interesting. So now she has lost complete trust with me. And if you guys choose to deal with her, that's your choice. I will not portray somebody that's lost my trust. You guys can make your own decisions, but I will not deal with her. A business person has lost their trust with me. Carry on if you wish. But I will never deal with her. So we've talked about decisions always being unanimous. So we sell something, we put the money back into the company. And so recently we got money back for selling it. We sold 5 properties. All 4 previous went right back into the company. Let's pay down debt, pay down debt, pay down debt. And I just found it really interesting that, no, I'm not part of any decision making. You guys already decided, so you two talked, made a decision, and we're going to do something different. It had I know why it benefits you guys, but it has no benefit to me to have the money in my account. I would rather pay off 10% debt. Take $150,000 and pay off somebody. So it's obvious that there are a lot of conversations happening behind the scenes where I'm excluded. And it leads me to the conversations where I've said countless times, like, communicate, let's talk. Let's not let little things fester because that destroys relationships. Let's not have a Namushka Lodge. Let's work together. We're adults. We can talk about these things. Apparently, I am the only one that believes that, because in November, when the Prime Minister of our country is coming to the small town that I am a police officer in, and they need some assistance, I'm like, yeah, no problem. I will go and I'll do the last little bit of work. I've got Keith and John coming out, but surely to goodness, my 2 close friends in this world will understand. We can still talk. We can still sit in a car and talk. So we're hanging out all day. Then I worked a night shift. I worked all night. And you guys could have come out and spent the whole night out there. And we could have talked and talked and talked and talked. But you guys came out for about an hour and a half in total. And then we had a conversation. You guys expressed your views. I listened to them. I heard them. I respected them. I listened to them. I gave my opinions. I thought they were respected. I thought you guys heard them. Including, I don't want to spend money on more of this stuff. You ignored that and went and did it anyways. But the biggest thing is when we're sitting in Kelowna and I bring this out and I say, guys, like, how much did we spend? And John's like, I don't know, ask Keith. And Keith, yes, we spent money, and we spent $1,000 and went through it. And I said, that's really disappointing. We didn't talk about it then, because right away, changing the subject, you guys went, well, speaking of disappointing, both of you, like, so obviously conversation that we had, let's, your reaction and your conversation in Ucluelet was disappointing too. Like, we wanted to have a business meeting, and that never happened. It was fucking shocking, because I had no idea. I thought we had a business meeting. You had a captive audience. I'm sitting staring at an airplane with nowhere to go for 12 hours. At any point, you could have brought it up. But instead, because we disagreed, that turned into a disappointment, because I didn't agree with what you wanted to do. And that was how we dealt with this Barb's funds, is we just quickly changed the subject and went on to a meeting that it was bizarre that you guys let it fester, because we didn't talk about it in November. We didn't talk about it in December, January, February, March, or April. We didn't talk about it in May or June. We talked about it mid-July, and you guys were disappointed for those 9 months. Why not come say something? Why not the day after and say, hey, fuck, Swanee, or in the breakfast at my house the next morning when I'd worked a night shift all night and I'm still there to talk. We could have talked, but we chose not to. And I don't know where that's gone awry. Well, actually, we've lived through this before, haven't we? We went a whole year where you two wouldn't talk to each other. Keith, you hated John. You said those words to me many times. John, you hated Keith. You couldn't believe that he was badgering you for receipts and had no idea the work that you went through and didn't appreciate it. For a year, I listened to both of you. A whole year. And maybe that, when you guys talk about me not doing anything for the business, maybe that is my greatest accomplishment, is that I've got this relationship back between you two. Because if I didn't, this would all have been over years ago. But I would listen to Keith, and I would talk to Keith, and I would salvage that relationship. And we would just talk, and we'd, and sometimes I'd agree with Keith, and, oh yeah, I know, fuck John's, yeah, he's pretty stubborn, and God, yeah, oh God, I know, yeah, he's terrible with paperwork, yeah, God. And I'd listen, I'd let you vent. That's my job, I was letting you vent. And then there's other times I'd push back, yeah, I know, but man, he works hard, man, he's right there, and yeah, his mom and dad are there helping, and I'd push back a little bit. And the same thing with you, John. You would talk about Keith wanting receipts and email, and if I get another fucking email from him, I'll fucking snap. And yeah, I know, God, he doesn't trust people and paperwork and money, and he doesn't trust you. You got to put in your $7 receipt, otherwise it didn't happen. And I dealt with that. And then other times I pushed back, said, yeah, but it's important. Like, Keith doesn't get it, and he needs to understand that, and that's just his style, and that's okay, John. Like, we'll get there. And I did that for hours. Massage that relationship to get it to where you guys are cohesive now. So we look back on decisions that we've made. We've always made them unanimously. We've always worked together as a team. We've always done that. But not anymore, apparently. Apparently, we're going to make decisions without Jeff knowing. We're going to spend money without Jeff knowing, because he doesn't agree with the direction that we're going. And that's wrong on so many levels. I've said it. Relationships are what matter. My relationship with the realtors, I mentioned Murray Beeman, still friends with him today. Jason Waddell, the banker. Sue Palmer did our mortgages at the beginning, still friends with her. Dell, the lawyer. He's been my dad's lawyer for 20 plus years, 25 years. Relationships are what matter. What's the point in having money if you don't have relationships? I got lots of relationships. I'm so busy socially with all the members and detachment functions and playing cards and going out having fun and doing some fun stuff. And it's so nice to be able to travel anywhere in Canada, have a relationship with somebody, and to go and do something fun and enjoyable. I'm going to talk about my relationship with Dale Harvey. So about 18 months ago, Naomi and I say, listen, we need to sort out our finances. We've always done it on our own. We need to get somebody to help us. And so I reached out, I talked to a couple of people, and I got a couple of referrals, and Dale came highly recommended from a Mountie that said he's worked with Dale for years, and he's been honest, compassionate, trusting, and a good friend. I'm like, oh, sounds like a good guy, but So we sent out a bunch of emails. Dale was the first to respond, and I replied back, say, yeah, sounds good, Dale. Thanks for reaching back out. And says, well, do you want to meet tomorrow? I'm like, no, we can't. I work tomorrow. He said, no, I'll come to you. I'm like, no, Dale, I live in Euclid. I thought he had assumed we were in Nanaimo. He said, no, I'll come to Euclid. I'll come drive out there. And so he came out in March, and we talked, and he brought gifts for the kids. He brought, he went to the donut store in Port Alberni and came back with some donuts, and he brought some coffee for Naomi or something. And what a nice gesture, what a nice guy. And, and we asked lots of questions about how does he get paid and where does the money come from, and tell me about relationships. And he answered all those questions perfectly, but genuinely. And so then Dale left, and then, the other 2 or 3 people that we'd contact were messaging back and forth. And then my brother died. He's not just my brother. He was my fucking kid. I looked after him. I did everything for him. And Dale was in Victoria when that happened. And he, I don't know if he found out on Facebook or something, but he dropped everything, and he went and bought a couple $100 worth of prepackaged frozen meals for Naomi, and he stopped at a craft store, and he bought a bunch of little metal models and stuff for the kids, and he drove to our house, and I wasn't there. I had left already to go to Edmonton, but he dropped it all off with Naomi and just made sure she was looked after. And, that's relationships right there. That's what matters in life. And so, we dealt with all that. And we just had a family celebration on the 1-year anniversary of Mike's death. And I didn't tell Dale, but he showed up the day before with a wind chime that he had made. And he hung up this wind chime and said, your brother's name's engraved in it. And he says, it's windy here, and I just know that, you'll be thinking of him. And when you hear that wind chime go, you'll remember your brother. God, it's relationships matter. The bonds that you form with people matter. And I was so disappointed in each of you when Dale reaches out to Naomi and says, hey, I've got this new hobby. I've been carving names, and, give me the spelling of Aiden's name. And so give me your name, boys' names again. So he gave him, and he spelled Aiden wrong, but he made a second one with Aiden with the A-N on the end instead of an E-N. And it was just so cool. And he came out the next time and gave them to the kids. The kids loved it. And he says, hey, do you think Keith and John would like it? And Naomi's like, yeah, I bet you they would. So Naomi gave them your names. So he spends, an hour on each one, times 5, and then he mails them out to you guys. His own costs. And neither of you have the dignity to say, thanks, Dale. That's it. This is what we teach our kids. You don't have to like your teacher. You don't have to like that kid, but just be respectful, be polite. And to hear that you think he's creepy because he made something for your family as a gift, I don't get it. I don't understand why, what has Dale done to you so wrong that you wouldn't have the common decency to say thank you for someone giving you a gift? I don't get it, and it bugs me, but whatever. That's for you guys to. I would just never. I wouldn't feel comfortable with myself if somebody went out of their way to make or do something. Dale's not doing it for the money. He spends an hour a week on the phone with Hudson, teaching Hudson how to invest. And Hudson's got about $6,000 invested now in Apple stock and some Fidelity stock, and then he's got some cheaper penny stocks that he's sort of just learning how to short something and how to stop sell and buy sell and all that stuff. And he knows more about investing than I do already. Dale doesn't get paid a cent for any of that. Not a cent. So it's just disappointing when I introduce my friends to Dale and they don't have the common decency to treat my friend with common decency. I don't know where we go from here. I'm 47 now, and all along I want 24 in a day, and I want to slow things down, and so because I had a difference of opinion in November, I'm persona non grata. I'm the guy that we'll just exclude. We won't talk to him. We won't message him. We won't ask him how life is. We won't text him. We won't call him anymore. I'm a grown up. I can handle that. I don't go to bed at night crying myself to sleep. I disagreed with a decision, not just on a whim, but saying I don't think we need to go into more debt right now. I don't think we need to spend more money, to restructure and spend more money to try to chase something, which I don't think we're going to get in the end. No one has been able to convince us that we're going to get that tax designation. No one. Barb's emails, Craig's emails, Dell's emails, Dale's emails. No one can say with 100% certainty, spend these thousands of dollars and you're going to get there guaranteed. So I am saying we are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So let's pay off some debt first. Let's get on top of our debt, until we make these decisions. So because I disagreed with those decisions, we hold a grudge from November until it comes out in July. But in between November and July, there's decisions being made, there's bills being paid, and there's conversations. Do we tell Jeff? Do we not tell Jeff? What do we do? And then we have post-November where, Keith's comments about me not doing anything. And don't forget where all the money came from to buy UT. Don't forget that a lot of that came from my family. And don't forget that we're now managing. And don't forget the hours and hours and hours that Naomi and I spent to begin with just goodwill. And so then to simply ask that for in respect, instead of hearing constantly that I do nothing and we do nothing, and it's just hurtful. And then to go to now that you guys are making decisions about how do we spend this $150,000, well, let's just give it right back and, well, let's put it to the company like we've always done in the past. Not a conversation. I'm going to end it here. I think this clearly illustrates how I feel. I will leave it with yourselves to decide how it progresses from here. Just know this, that I love you both. I think you're amazing individuals, and this is all solvable. But it's incumbent upon three of us to do that, not just one. Okay, take care.